Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started now. First of all, hello and welcome to the CHES exam information webinar. My name is Jessica Wessner. I'm a staff member with the National Commission for Health Education Credentialing. That's a mouthful, so we're also known as NCHEC for short. So this afternoon, or this morning, depending on where you're joining from, we're going to be talking about our CHES certification, which is a national credential that we offer specifically for health education specialists. Before we go ahead and dive into that, brief introduction. Also on with me today is Tanya Cole. She's our CHES exam coordinator. Tanya reviews all our CHES applications and pre-screens for eligibility. So she is the one who handles the eligibility for the exam. And she will be doing a lot of presenting today and will also be available for some questions from you guys. Before we go ahead with that, I just wanted to go over some housekeeping to ensure we maximize our time together today. Like I mentioned, there will be a Q&A at the end where your questions will be answered live, and you can ask your questions at any time by typing into the Q&A box. And know that if your question isn't answered today, contact information for Tanya will be provided at the end of the webinar today, and we will definitely follow up with you, or you can email Tanya as necessary. So let me tell you a little bit about NCHEC first. We are a nonprofit organization. Our mission is to enhance the professional practice of health education by promoting and sustaining a credentialed body of health education specialists. So that's certified health education specialists. That's where we get the term CHES. And how we do this is through developing and administering a national competency-based examination. So we develop standards for academic professional preparation, and we promote ongoing professional development through continuing education for those who get this credential. So we're really focused in on continued learning over a person's career. The CHES certification has been around for over 30 years of history, and it is validated periodically by a national job analysis study. And this is done to make sure the exam base, the questions that you're asked, reflects what health education professionals are doing in a variety of job settings and roles all across the country. These studies are a really important part of what keeps a credential valid and up to date and really worthwhile. So we are also nationally and internationally accredited. And these accreditations are something that becomes really important in making sure that we are doing a good job with our exam, a fair job, and a consistent job for these national certifications that we administer. So what is a CHES? A Certified Health Education Specialist, or CHES, is an individual that has met academic eligibility. So you've completed specific coursework that makes you a health education specialist, and your academic transcript goes through an evaluation process for this to make sure that you meet these qualifications. Then you've passed a very rigorous competency-based examination. You maintain and add to your knowledge through continuing education over your career. So it really shows that a person has an ongoing commitment to continued learning. And this is really important to your employer, but also the public. And it signifies that you're staying up to date on current practices. Another term you'll hear a lot about is CHES eligibility. So if you're considering this credential, eligibility for the CHES exam is based exclusively on academic qualifications. So you must have a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate degree from an accredited institution, and either one of the following: an official transcript that shows a major in health education, public health education, community health education, school health education, or another route to get to eligibility is through an official transcript that reflects a minimum of 25 semester hours or 37 quarter hours. In this, some universities use quarter hours, some use semester hours, so it varies. And these coursework have been earned specifically addressing the 8 areas of responsibility and competencies. So those 8 critical areas are what's going to be on the exam, the foundation of it. And Tanya will talk a little bit more about these areas a little later on. What is an NCHES? The NCHES credential is an advanced level credential. So it's for a seasoned practitioner that has met academic qualifications and has worked in the field for a minimum of 5 years. They also have successfully passed a different competency-based examination administered by us, and that they satisfy the continuing education requirement to maintain the national credential. I think you guys are very interested in the CHES credential, but we wanted to cover a little bit about the NCHES just so you know that that advanced credential will be available as well, 5 years down the road for you guys. So why is CHES certification important? Why should you be interested in getting it and going through eligibility and the exam process? So it's quality assurance above all else to both your employer and to the public. CHES certification establishes a national standard of practice for all health education specialists practicing across the country and in some cases overseas. It attests to the individual's health education specialist knowledge and skills and competency. So you've demonstrated your competency by passing this national examination. And it also assists employers in identifying qualified health education practitioners. So we have a job board. There are a lot of employers who seek applicants who are CHES certified or NCHES certified, and we post those job openings frequently. And being certified also develops a sense of like accomplishment and pride among your peers. It promotes continued professional development. So it's a requirement. Professional development's a requirement. A lot of times new professionals are very busy. They have families, commitments, but when you're certified, you can't put this off. It kind of keeps you on task, keeps you honest. So that's something that you'll have to do with this credential is maintain it that way. So at this point, I'm going to turn you over to Tanya, our exam coordinator, and she's going to walk you through the eligibility process and what happens on test day and everything that process entails. So Tanya, I will turn it over to you.
Hi, and welcome everyone. The CHES exam and the NCHES exam are currently offered twice a year, once in April and once in October over a 10-day window with many different testing times and locations available. We offer the exam at a physical testing site, or we also offer online testing. Rescheduling options are also available, and those are outlined in the exam handbook available on our website. Okay, so the first thing to understand is that every official transcript submitted with your application or your pre-screen is reviewed on an individual basis. Course titles vary widely from university to university, so does course content. If the exam coordinator who reviews your transcript is uncertain about the content of a course that you've taken, then she would ask you to provide additional course descriptions or syllabi. And printing out your course descriptions before applying is also an excellent way to provide you with more clarity on what might be an accepted course and which could be excluded. So for the application pre-screen that's submitted, the next step would be to submit your application. This can be done online through the NCHEC portal once you have created an online account. Applications can also be emailed to the exam coordinator. They can also be faxed into our office. Next is the transcript review. Official transcripts submitted with the application are then reviewed, and if needed, additional documentation is requested. After your transcripts are reviewed, there will be an eligibility determination. We would look for the 25 credits that align with the 8 areas of responsibility, and then the candidate is contacted with the next steps to complete the registration. If an applicant is found ineligible, information on how to obtain additional academic credits are provided. Your application is then moved to candidate, and you would begin preparation for sitting for the exam. Your exam appointment can then be scheduled within your online portal after you're found eligible. Occasionally, applicants are unclear about whether their credential meets the eligibility requirements. If your degree does not necessarily read health education, but you may have accumulated the sufficient hours of coursework, we offer the pre-screen service. And that's to determine your eligibility before fully registering for the exam. Transcripts are reviewed to determine your eligibility, and then notification through email of the pre-screen outcome would be provided. If ineligible, course deficiencies will be identified and guidance for qualification would be provided. There's a $25 non-refundable fee for this service. However, if you are deemed eligible, the $25 fee is applied toward the applicant's full exam registration application. The pre-screen service currently is closed, but it's going to open again November 1st for the upcoming April 2024 cycle. So pre-screen application is often used in place of a regular application if you are in any way unsure of your coursework for eligibility. There are benefits in using the pre-screen service that you may not be aware of. You would not need to submit an additional application if you are eligible. You would simply log back into your account, complete the exam payment, and then you'll get an authorization attest to schedule your appointment. Pre-screen applications normally receive priority during the review process, so your results should be received within about 2 weeks. Traditional applications may take longer. If you are not currently eligible, you will learn exactly how many credits you are missing, as well as sample course titles to help you select additional classes. And then you can pick those credits up online if you would wish. The cost of the pre-screen is $25, and if you're found eligible, that $25 is deducted off of your full application fee. So you would not end up paying more than the total cost of the original exam fee. And the date of your original pre-screen application will be considered for your exam application date, so you will not incur higher exam fees due to a deadline cutoff. So if you would, we have 3 separate deadlines. So if you would submit your pre-screen in the first deadline, but I don't review it until the second deadline, you would still get those first deadline fees. It would never go up. Okay. NCHEC has made an exception for students to sit for the CHES exam before graduation if the student intends to graduate within 90 days of the exam. Students must fulfill the requirement of completing his or her degree and submitting a final transcript or diploma to NCHEC to receive your active certification status, as well as submitting an advisor letter validating the full-time status, which is during the application process. Once you have created an account and initiated a new application or pre-screen, you would enter your first and last name on the application, exactly how it should appear on the CHES certificate, and also how it is shown on your government ID, because they do check your ID to match your name at your testing site. It's your responsibility to notify NCHEC of any changes in name or address before taking the exam. Official transcript reflecting school name, degree, and dates awarded and all complete coursework. An application cannot be processed without your official transcript. If sent separately, transcript should be submitted no later than the final registration deadline, or you could be subject to an incomplete application and possibly increased exams fees. An advisor letter would only be required if you are currently a student. The letter would need to be on school letterhead, contain your name, projected graduation date, degree program, and that you are currently a student. All documents must be uploaded before the eligibility review can take place. And this information is also on our website. If you had questions, what should be contained in the advisor letter. So exam registration opens in May and November of every year. Register during the early bird period to receive a $50 discount, which is the first month. So registration is going to open November 1st, and that first month is going to be the lowest fee. Student discounts, full-time students who are enrolled full-time in 9 or more semester credits, that is available for with documentation of your full-time status. The final exam registration period closes on February 29th and August 31st of each year. This schedule is also available on our website under the exam scheduling for CHES and NCHES respectively. Applicants who have been determined eligible for the CHES exam will receive an authorization attest letter. This notification will be sent to your registered email address. This email is necessary to schedule your exam appointment. Remember that application reviews can take up to 3 weeks during busy times. Ineligible applicants, again, will be notified by email, and if you're found ineligible, your application fee will be refunded minus the non-refundable processing fee of $100, and that's only if you fully register for the exam and are found ineligible. You can reapply for the exam in the future should you complete the coursework necessary for eligibility, and you also do have the right to appeal your denial of eligibility. So after you're found eligible, the next step would be to schedule your exam appointment. In 2022, NCHEC transitioned to a new testing vendor for CHES and NCHES exams. Candidates are now able to schedule within a link within your authorization attest email, or you can also go to the NCHEC website and click login. NCHEC's website also has some videos detailing what you can expect on test day, whether you choose to go to a testing center or at home via live remote proctoring. Once you are logged in, there will be a green button on the left-hand side of your dashboard to schedule or reschedule, and applicants are strongly encouraged to schedule an exam appointment right away to obtain a preferred test date, time, and location. Do not wait until the exam testing window opens to schedule a time slot, as appointments are scheduled on a first-come, first-served basis. Should a candidate be unable to schedule an exam appointment within the testing window, fees would not be refunded or transferred. So we also have an option for a Helen Cleary exam scholarship. This scholarship was established to honor Dr. Helen P. Cleary, who was instrumental in establishing the first CHES credential in 1991. The scholarship is only for the CHES exam. Eligibility criteria must be met, and the scholarship covers most of the examination fees and study materials. Right now, it's currently closed for the April 2024 cycle, and the schedule for the October 2024 cycle is actually posted on our website under one of the exam tabs. So the CHES and NCHES exam candidates utilize professional, secure, technology-enabled global PSI test centers, which include such benefits as immediate pass-fail for our CHES only right now, but we are expanding to do immediate pass-fail for NCHES. An expanded range of testing center dates and locations, 24-hour online scheduling through the NCHEC candidate portal, and a 10-day test window to fit your busy schedules. CHES exam candidates receive instant preliminary pass-fail results after exam completion, and exams can be rescheduled if necessary. Applicants choosing a test site can search online, and we do have this link that maybe Jess can stick in the chat box, that you can check for an exam site that's closest to your location. You would put your zip code in and it would show close locations. International testing is also available. So the first video here is going to provide exam candidates an overview of the test center experience. And again, more information is on our website, and so is this video.
Okay, I'm gonna play it here if it loads. Looks like it is.
For some to reaching your potential, and whether you're testing remotely or at a piece, to provide you with a great testing experience along PSI's offers flexibility. When you arrive at the test center,
Jess, I think the video is
Right
cutting
above.
in and out.
Okay, let me let it load here for a second again. And again, I will post the link to these in the chat there when we get to the end.
It's just the sound.
Okay.
for digital fingerprint to provide no person are permitted.
Is it still cutting out, Tanya?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna skip it then and put the link in the chat right now, and you guys can watch it then. Okay, that's the first link. Let's go back to the slides.
Yeah, we also have a live remote proctoring link, which if you want to add that into the chat also, that you can watch that again. It's also on our website. We do have a whole section on live remote proctoring and computer-based testing on our website that you can read over. But we do offer to continue to use live remote proctoring as a test modality through PSI's onward remote assessment platform known as PSI Bridge. This option gives candidates 24/7 access, allowing them to test from home with an internet-enabled location where they must provide a computer with a camera, microphone, and internet connection. It's an easy-to-use platform and allows the same standard security procedures as implemented in PSI's Global Test Center network. PSI Bridge works with both Windows and Mac OS compatible. Candidates must use the Google Chrome browser and perform the system's readiness check before registering for the LRP appointment. One thing to note is that certain software devices are not PSI Bridge supported, so please make sure you do a systems check and going on to the link that's going to be provided, because there are additional checks that happen once the proctor logs into your computer and takes access of it. You should not be using a university or work computer or not have any restrictions on your computer. So again, we'll just add that link to the chat, and then you can have access to that, and also again on our website.
Okay, here's the online proctoring link. I'm going to put this in the chat now. Okay. Both these are on our website too, right, Tanya?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So yes, you guys can go to our website into the exam section and find these videos as well. Alrighty.
So the CHES exam is a competency-based exam. This means that the exam is constructed based on the framework document, which identifies the 8 areas of responsibility. Within each area of responsibility, the basic competencies and sub-competencies necessary for health education specialists have been delineated. These serve as a basis for developing the questions on the exam. The CHES exams are a 3-hour timed exam offered via live remote proctoring or computer-based at a test center, consists of 165 multiple choice questions, 150 are scored and 15 are pilot tested that measure the possession, application, and interpretation of knowledge essential to the practice of health education. The exam content is in 3 blocks, and we'll cover that in the next few slides. The study guide is also available for purchase. It is useful but optional, used by candidates during study and preparation for the certification exam. And again, it's offered on the NCHEC website. The CHES exam is based on a national in-depth job analysis study to identify what skills and tasks are being utilized by health education specialists practicing across the United States. These tables outline the areas of responsibility on the exam and the percent of total questions that come from each area. This content here is for the CHES exam, and it went into effect for the October 2022 exam. The next chart here outlines the areas of responsibility for the CHES exam and the percentage of questions that come from each area. To ensure fairness and security across CBT and LRP, the CHES and CHES exams will be administered using a set of standardized security protocols in alignment with standards recommended by our accreditation body, NCCA. The security policy will affect the examination format and the break policy. The exam is currently offered in 3 blocks. Block 1, which is questions 1 through 83. Block 2, which is the 10-minute optional break. And Block 3, which contains questions 84 to 165. Candidates will be given an opportunity to take an optional 10-minute break midway through the exam between blocks 1 and 3. If the break is taken, it will require additional security screening before proceeding to complete the 3rd block of the exam. The 10-minute break is deducted from the total test time. Following the break, candidates will gain access to the 3rd block of the exam, but will not be able to access the 1st block of exam questions.
Okay, so I am going to hop back in here for a few minutes and talk a little bit about CHES certification requirements once you pass the exam and become certified. So to maintain the CHES credential, first you have to pass it. That's the hard part. Then you are responsible for an annual renewal fee, maintenance fee of $70 a year. And you must document 75 hours of continuing education contact hours check. You'll hear that term a lot once you become certified. And that's within a 5-year period. So if you break that down, that's about 15 credits per year, which is totally doable. It's just important to make a conscious effort to maintain that a little bit every year. At the end of that year 5, individuals will recertify if the renewal fees are paid and the continuing education requirements have been met. CHES and MCHES need to complete a measurement or an evaluation of what's called continuing competency as part of their continuing education requirement. So those are 5 hours. They're not extra hours. They're included in the 75. But they're specific type of continuing education that demonstrates knowledge, skills, and ability in health education and promotion. We did institute something called the Category 1 performance assessment, and that can be completed by your employer. And it's worth 5 credits. It doesn't cost anything. So that's definitely a way that you can meet that requirement pretty easily. Let's just talk a little bit more about continuing education. We do have a lot of opportunities to earn continuing education. There are 2 main categories. So Category 1 continuing education are events or offerings that have been pre-approved by NCHEC and are given by something that we call designated providers. So those providers have submitted their courses to us for review. and they are all listed in a database on our website that are easy to search. A lot of them are 100% free. Many of them are online or self-study, kind of go at your own pace. So there's a lot of different topics. So you're required to complete some category 1 continuing education. Category 2 events are optional. They are not pre-approved by us, but they still align with at least one of the 8 areas of responsibility. Category 2 credits are self-reported via the NCHEC online portal, and they will need to go through an approval process. You can get a maximum of 30 category 2 credits during that 5-year period as part of your 75 continuing education. Just a note here that CHES and NCHES have slightly different continuing education requirements. All this information is available on our renewal and recertification page if you want to dig into that a little bit more. And should you become certified, you also receive a lot of information clarifying this and going into this a bit more. So don't worry if it's not 100% clear here today. You'll receive a lot more information about it. Also wanted to mention that we have an online community called NCHEC Online. Once you're certified, you are permitted to become part of this community. It connects our certified individuals, other CHES and NCHES who are practicing in health education and health promotion. We have resources there. You can engage in discussions, ask questions, find out about job opportunities, professional development opportunities, and that sort of thing. You also receive access to something called the Reimbursement and Credentialing of Health Education Services Toolkit. That was developed for use by CHES and NCHES to assist with that. You can access and download the toolkit within your CHES NCHES portal once you become certified. And after you log in, you'll see a screen similar to this slide. And if you want the reimbursement toolkit, you just click on it and it will download for you. A note about resources. Most of these are available to anyone should you visit our webpage and go to the resources section. It may be helpful to you as you prepare to enter into the health education field. We list job opportunities. I mentioned these a little bit earlier from employers who prefer to hire CHES and NCHES. So they know the value of certification. They know that you've passed this exam and your helps to qualify you for the position. You can also get tips on how to market yourself in an interview, sample job titles to help you search, because a lot of times there's a lot of jobs out there that don't say health education specialist, but it encompasses that role. So some resources there to help you with that. We also have an employer toolkit on this page that will help employers learn how to use our job listing tool and take a look at those sample job descriptions and that sort of thing. And also, we are on social media on a lot of different platforms. So if you're not already following us, please do so on one of these platforms. I share a ton of continuing education opportunities on these platforms. Most of them are free. I'll provide the registration link, date and times to make it easy for you to access. Networking opportunities, job postings, interviews with other CHES and NCHES, and that sort of thing. So if you're on any of these platforms, make sure to take a moment to find us and follow us. They're also on our website that you can just click and go right there as well. Just wanted to let you guys know there will be a recording of this presentation. We're going to put it on our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel also, but also on our website, we have a webinar section. And for all of you who've registered, I'm going to go ahead and email you the recording as well. I'll provide a link to Tanya's email in the chat, but it's pretty easy to remember, but I'll throw it in the chat then after we get through the Q&A as well. Tanya, let's just get started and dig in here. There was one question, because I had mentioned NCHES and 5 years of experience. They had over 5 years of experience as a health science educator. Can this person apply for the NCHES instead of the CHES? I thought maybe you would just briefly talk about eligibility for NCHES and how it's different from CHES.
Yeah. So for eligibility for NCHES, you would have to have a minimum of a completed master's degree. If your master's degree or above is not with the degree major of health education, you would need those 25 credits of health education courses, plus 5 years of documented work experience in health education that relate to those 8 areas of responsibility. So I'm not quite sure what your degree would be. I would suggest actually emailing me if you do have a minimum of a master's degree that's completed. You could send me your resume so I could take a look at your work experience. And then we can go into a little bit more detail about your specific situation.
Great. And one thing I wanted to mention is if you obtain the CHES credential and you maintain it for 5 full years and complete your continuing education and recertify, you are then eligible to take the NCHES without completing a master's degree. So there is an alternate route to get to the NCHES if you don't have a master's. Maintain that CHES for 5 years, recertify, do your continuing education, and then you are eligible to sit for the NCHES exam. Is that right, Tanya?
That's
right?
correct.
Okay, awesome. Another question from Karina. If it's been determined that I qualify or am eligible, how long is that eligibility good for?
It's hard to say. Eligibility should be good for a while, years. The basic eligibility requirements for the CHES, I do not think would change. You would need to have those 25 credits that meet those areas of responsibility in health education. So as long as you have those qualifications, and if you were previously found eligible, you should be fine to register sometime in the future.
Okay, great. Here's one from Brianna. I'm a student now, but she's going to complete her degree requirements at the end of January. Should she still register as a student or wait until February?
So if you would like to use the full student fee, I would suggest registering in November. Get the lowest fee, get the student fee. You don't necessarily have to submit all your documentation at that time, but in order to get that fee, you must register and do the application and pay. You can supply your official transcript and advisor letter. Then I would be able to put you in the queue to review your application and to schedule your appointment sooner than later, because your application would not be reviewed until your documentation was received. But I would suggest registering now in November so you could get that lower fee.
Yeah, definitely. The student rate's a good deal. Okay, here's another one. You mentioned that live remote proctoring was an immediate pass-fail notification. Is the in-person testing or test center testing, do we receive immediate results as well?
Yes, so it's the same process. So you will receive an immediate pass-fail, I believe, on your screen when you take the exam, and then you will be emailed a document that says that you preliminary passed or you preliminary failed. So right after the exam, it's going to be either live remote or in person. They're handled the same way. You will get the information immediately.
Okay. Here's another one about graduation dates. I graduate in May 2024, so then I can potentially take the April 2024 exam.
Yep, that's correct. Excuse me, that's correct. So you would just need to graduate within 90 days of the exam, and it would be the same circumstance. I would suggest registering early to get that lowest fee, and we would just need an official transcript and an advisor letter. But yes, if you were found eligible, you could take the upcoming April exam.
Okay. Here's a good question that you can kind of provide a little clarification on. What's the passing grade or percentage for the exam? If you maybe explain how that works a little bit.
So the exam is graded on the difficulty of the exam questions. So they do a preliminary pass-fail score. An analysis is done before individuals take the exam, and then another analysis is done after individuals take the exam. Your score would 99% never change. A pass would never go to a fail. A fail, if they do by chance miss by 1 point, could potentially go to a pass if there's an issue question when they did the analysis that they maybe remove that question from the exam, they would give a point for that. So we do scaled scoring, and that's done by our psychometrics. So a 600 is the lowest passing score. So if you get anywhere between a 600 and an 800, you would get a passing grade. And the actual scores you're not going to see until you receive your final score report after the exam results are processed. And there is a little bit more about this information too on our website under background and scoring under the CHES section.
Great. Here's one that might be, this person might need to email us. I was CHES certified in the 90s, but did not renew my certification. Would I be eligible for NCHES since I was certified for 5 years? I think it would depend on whether they recertified, number one, and completed their continuing education. But I'm not sure if the credential lapsed, if they could come back as NCHES without like going through the full eligibility and needing the master's degree and that sort of thing. But
right. Yeah, so if you haven't been certified since the 90s, you would need to have those specific NCHES requirements of the completed master's degree, plus the 5 years of work experience in health education. In order to be eligible for the NCHES under the 5-year, you have to be an active CHES. So you would have to have your 5 years or more of continued service as an active CHES, and then you could do the NCHES under the 5-year with no additional documentation. But if you're currently lapsed, you would have to go through and submit all your documentation and be eligible.
Great, thanks for that clarification. That makes sense. Another person asked about the different types of jobs that employers are looking for with the CHES or NCHES credential. I would encourage this person to go to the career section on the website, to the job posting page, and I'll throw that link in the chat at the end when we're done here. But you can scroll through and look at all the different types of positions that are open right now. You can click on them and look at all the specific responsibilities for those positions and try and really get a feel for a really wide variety of jobs that our credential holders are performing across the entire field and different sectors of the field. So visit our career resources page for certain, and that'll help you out. Tanya, here's one from Tristan. As far as costs related to testing certification, is there any assistance for military veterans?
We don't have any through NCHEC, but I believe there is something through the military that offers assistance for education.
Yep, that's what Tristan, why don't you email us? I'll try and look for that information
Yeah.
in the meantime. But I think there is, like Tanya said, there is some assistance. We don't offer it, but you might be able to get assistance with that. Okay. Tanya, one from Amanda has come in. If you complete the exam before 3 hours, that 3-hour block, do you have to stay the entire time, or when you are done, are you able to exit the exam?
Yep, you would just exit the exam. So within the exam, there's I think there's some type of buttons in there. You would, after you're done, there's a survey. You can choose to answer the survey, or you can choose not to answer the survey. You would end the exam yourself, and then you're able to just get up and leave.
Here's one from Wendy. I completed my bachelor's in community health education in 2021. Am I still eligible to take the CHES exam?
Yeah, so there's no date of whenever you took your degree. So we do not, it could be from 1989. There's no cutoff as long as you have those credits in health education, or your degree major is in, if this one's community health education, yes, you could definitely still be eligible to take the exam.
Okay, great. Here's another one about pre-screens specifically. If you've pre-screened in the past and were denied or found ineligible at that time because you needed additional credits, and you've since completed those credits, do you suggest they go through another pre-screen?
Now, what you can do actually is just email me your official transcripts, and I could look over them to make sure that the additional credits have been taken and that they would be eligible. And then instead of doing another pre-screen, I could let you know. And if you're eligible, you could just go ahead and do the full registration then.
Oh, awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here's a good one from Jeremy. If someone tests late in the exam window and encounters problems with LRP that can't immediately be resolved, is there any recourse? Would they be able to schedule at a physical site in the week following the test window, for instance?
So what happens is, depending on when the individual took the exam, sometimes I am able to keep the window open a couple more days. I do that on a case-by-case basis, but I do try to get everybody to take the exam within that same cycle. They would just need to contact me immediately, either the same day they had the issue or the following morning that they had the issue. Because we can't schedule like within 48 hours. It has to be like 2 days or more that we can schedule. So if somebody tests on the last Saturday and doesn't contact me till the next Wednesday, there's not much we can really do. They would just really have to contact us as soon as possible. And I do my best to get that individual scheduled within the same testing window. And if that doesn't happen, we usually offer fee waivers if they had technical issues or something was wrong with
Yeah.
PSI. We definitely work with those individuals.
Okay. But a really good thing would be not to try to schedule earlier in the exam cycle, if at all possible. I mean, we understand that there might be scheduling constraints, but if you can schedule early, take it early. Don't wait to the last day if you can help
Yeah,
it.
don't wait to the last day. We had a lot of students or a lot of individuals take the exam in the last 2 days. A lot. It was more than any other day. And I also just want to bring up, you really have to read over the instructions for the LRP, for the remote testing. You know, all platforms have issues. Nothing runs perfectly. But besides you doing that system check, that's not the only thing that you have to do. There are further instructions. There's another link that I provide. I send out multiple communications for the LRP testing. You can't use a work or university computer. You can't use a computer that has administrative rights on it. You can't have open windows. You have to have the most up-to-date software, and you can't have duplicate monitors. There are some pretty hefty restrictions for when the proctor actually gains access to your computer, and they lock your screen so you can only access the exam. We had an individual who had a pop up during their LRP, and they terminated the exam. I mean, and that's just protocol. So you have to make sure your pop-ups are blocked, and if you're not familiar with or comfortable with taking the exam in that means during LRP, I really would suggest just trying to go to a testing site. There normally are not issues at a testing site unless the system's down or something's wrong with their software, but I would just really suggest reading up on the LRP and trying to go through all the links just to make sure your computer is that, compatible. And again, you can email me with any questions. A lot of this is on our website. We do have it on the website, but again, I do send out multiple emails towards your testing window to double check and double check and double check.
Awesome. That's good advice. And just to reiterate, this presentation will be sent out to everybody who's on here today. So if you miss screenshotting something, want to look at the videos, that sort of thing, and look over these question and answers, this will be sent out to you and also available on our YouTube page and on the website as well. Here's one, Tanya, so we still have a few minutes left, I believe. Yeah, a couple minutes left. Is the student fee just for full-time students, or does it apply to part-time students also?
So the student fee is only used for full-time students. So you would need to be a full-time student enrolled in 9 or more semester credits or 12 or more quarter hours, or be full-time as your institution has indicated. So I do know that some graduate programs consider 6 credits full-time at their institution. So if that's the case, you could still use that student status, and I would just need the documentation showing that that university is full-time status at 6 credits. But no, part-time would have to use the non-student fee.
Right. Here's a question about study guides. I noticed on your website you have multiple exam prep books. Which is the best for an individual that would like to take the CHES exam?
So the 8th edition companion guide is the actual study guide. That includes your practice test questions in the back of the book. The framework is technically used for universities to align their curriculum with the health ed competencies, but that book can help too. It goes over the competencies and sub-competencies. There is a reduced fee if you would buy the package, but you also have to use your other own outside resources. Books from your university that you've used during your studies. There also is a suggested reading list under the CHES exam studying section, and it's references. So a lot of those books can also be used. Maybe you can take them out at your local library or your school library to help study. And those reference books are where the boards for NCHEC try to get their questions or come up with their questions to put on the exam. So those references could help also.
That's a great advice. And this list, guys, it's on our website in the exam section. There's a section called Studying for the CHES exam. Click on that. It has the study guide, it has the framework, it has the reading list that she just mentioned. It's all on the website. So, okay. This one, again, is about pre-screening. This person pre-screened a couple years ago, but when they log back into their account, it says CHES expired. So they're not quite sure what CHES expired means.
So what happens is when you do a pre-screen, eligibility is technically good for 2 cycles, which means that $25 being deducted off your full fee. So if you register and are found, do the pre-screen in the April cycle, and you don't take it in April, you can still take the exam in October, and that $25 will be deducted from the full registration fee. So if you're found eligible and you don't take the exam in April and October, then your application technically expires. So when you come back in to register, you would just have to fully register for the exam. It's not saying that you're ineligible or anything. You would just have to use the full registration, and that $25 would not be deducted off of the full fee.
So it basically just means your current application or past application has expired.
Yeah.
Start a new one. Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Is the exam format all multiple choice? Are there any essay questions or other formats?
The exam is all multiple choice questions. There are no essays. And there is a whiteboard integrated within the exam for you to take notes on. And there is also a calculator, if needed, integrated within the exam.
Okay. Here's one that I know doesn't have a super easy answer, but this person has a degree in public health. Should they go ahead and apply?
I would suggest doing the pre-screen service, unless your degree major specifically says health education or community health education. We have to do that full review of your official transcripts and go over it course by course. Because some public health majors or degrees, there could be concentrations in epidemiology, there could be concentrations in environmental health, which may not contain those specific health education courses that are needed. So I definitely would suggest just using the pre-screen service.
Okay, here's one. If you previously took the CHES and failed, are you able to retake it? And what if some time has passed between the actual exam date where you failed and today?
So yes, you can. So if you would fail the exam, so say you took the exam in April and you failed it, you're able to take the exam in October for the reduced $150 fee. If you don't use that reduced fee and do not take it in October, full registration fees would be applicable for the next exam, but you can retake the exam. You could, there's always an option to take the exam or retake the exam.
Here's one that goes back to LRP. So they've registered for LLP, but they don't pass the systems check, so they don't have the right software or computer, that sort of thing. What option would be available? What should they do next?
So you can just go ahead on the same way that you scheduled an appointment. You can go right back into your account and reschedule. It's very easy. You would just go into your account. You would click the reschedule. There's then going to be a link that says rebook, and you can just choose on site at a testing site, and you can just reschedule at a different location or reschedule at a location. That cannot be done within 48 hours of the exam. So I would suggest going through and doing all your system checks early on, so that you have time to reschedule if you need to.
I have a question, Tanya. Are there any rescheduling fees?
No, there are not. Rescheduling is completely free.
Wonderful. Here's one that I can probably answer. Once you pass the exam, do you ever need to take the exam again, say after the 5-year period? The question, talks about recertification. What does recertification entail? If you maintain your credential and complete the 75 credits of required continuing education and the 5 credits of continuing competency as part of that, you will not need to retest again. You can, if the continuing education, you get to the end and you're missing a couple credits, there's something called an extension. We can help you get through that so that your credential doesn't lapse. The most important thing is to do not let your credential lapse, because that is the point where you would have to take the exam again if you want to stay certified. So, if you keep up with that 15 credits a year rule and do all the things you're supposed to do, you should not need to retake the exam. unless you do decide to go to NCHES down the road. So, anything else to add to that, Tanya?
No.
Okay. I think we are right about at the 1 o'clock mark. If there's anything we didn't get to, we will shoot you an email. You are welcome to email either of us at these addresses. Let me stop my share. Let me type in the chat box Tanya's email real quick before we go. Anything else we want to add here today, Tanya?
Nope, I think that's good. Again, if anybody needs anything, just let us know, and we will get back and answer all the questions that we did not answer on the live chat here.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a
Thank
good
you.
afternoon. Thanks, Tanya. Bye-bye.
Sure.